Hey everybody, Gooey here,
And Mossies.
and we are continuing our series of discussions on all topics pertaining to Legend of Zelda. Today, we're talking about something I know you have a lot of experience with. We're going to talk about the shrines in Breath of the Wild.
Yep, I'm currently writing a shrines guide. By the time this video goes up, I will have individual guides for all 120 shrines.
Oh my gosh.
So I've played through all the shrines, in most cases 2-3 times each.
Well, before we, I guess, go deep into it, how has your experience been just going... You're going from shrine to shrine, basically.
Yeah, I'm like in a gauntlet of shrines going right now.
That's not the most ideal way to play the game, would you say?
No, this is a reoccurring theme with how I've been playing this game.
First, you just streamline, go straight through the main quest, and now the shrines.
Yeah. They get a bit repetitive.
Okay.
There's a lot of very clever ones, a lot of awesome ones. I really like some of them. Some of them will take the average player 3 minutes to beat, and some of them will take 40 minutes to beat.
Okay.
Or at least one of them I can think of. So they're all over the spectrum. A lot of duplication of shrines, though, which is one of the things I wish they could have done a little bit more.
What are some of the duplicates? Is it just the combat ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's... I don't know. I don't have the hard numbers in front of me, but I think I've had maybe 6 or 7 of the major Guardian battles, and I think probably 5-6 of the modest ones and 5-6 of the minor ones.
Right.
So somewhere I imagine between 15 and 25 of these are you're fighting a Guardian scout.
Yeah.
And some of them are like I can tell that the ones that are further away in the overworld, like the ones that are like hidden in the northwest area of like the Hebra Tower region, like they're harder to get to and they're not close to the starting point. So those are all like major ones, major guardians. And then the ones like in Central Hyrule, I think there's one in the Dueling Peaks area that are sort of right next to the starting point.
Yeah.
Some of those are the minor guardians. So they did a decent job with like placement.
You just think there's maybe too many?
There's not enough diversity with it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand why, so there's some diversity in that for some of the major ones. So one of the basic Guardian Scout attacks is it jumps back, does a spin attack, and you just like sort of hide behind the pillar, and it dashes right. Okay. So one of the things they add in some of the major ones is there's no pillars anymore. It's just water. So it's like, you got to use Cryonis to create an ice block.
Okay, I haven't even seen that one.
Or there's some where there's no water, but there's metal blocks underground.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to use magnesis to create. So those are the only differences, really.
I would say that's probably not enough to make it feel different.
No, I like the idea of, so they're, like, I would say all the shrines, they sort of divide up into, I don't know, maybe a quarter of them or a third of them, I don't know, whatever, are shrine quests. So it's like overworld puzzles, like stuff happening outside. And once you solve it, you just enter the shrine and your shrine's complete already. It's just one treasure chest and you beat the shrine.
Yeah.
So that's I would say about a third of them maybe. And then I would say probably, I don't know, maybe around 20 of these are just the battle ones. And then the other 60, 70, 80, whatever it is, are puzzle-oriented. I would have liked if the battle ones, they could have made more of them if they changed it up, I think.
Yeah. Going back to our enemies video, this could have been one where they have instead of a regular scout guardian or whatever they're called, there could have been a boss Gliok guardian in one or something like that.
Yeah. They could have really... they could have been more enemies, but even if they were only working in the realm of the enemies that are in the game,
yes,
I think they still could have done more. I think of these battles. I think of like the Cave of Ordeals or the Savage Labyrinth from Wind Waker, or the Take 'Em All On challenge from Spirit Tracks, where there were these like rooms that are just nothing but enemies. It's like sort of like an enemy gauntlet, and I know they're actually adding that in like the DLC coming, but I mean, I think that could fit in one room. Not a gauntlet, but like you can have a really, really tough shrine where you walk in and there's just 6 Guardian Scouts or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta, maybe they're not all like the strongest of them, but there's multiple ones in there. Or they mix and match. Like maybe you're fighting 2 Guardian Scouts, but then there's a Moblin or a Hynix or something. You know, it would have been cool to have like more unique, maybe, encounters and just go all out with it. You know, they don't have to be that easy. Make them so some people are like, you know what? I am not powerful enough for this one.
I'm gonna come back to this. Yeah,
that will happen even with the major ones. Like if you stumble upon a major strength shrine, like right off the Great Plateau,
yeah,
you're not gonna beat it.
But once you do one of those, you're probably ready to take on all the rest.
Correct. Yeah, that's how I would gauge it.
Yeah, one of the more unique ones, a highlight I think was the Molduga. Is that how it's pronounced?
Oh, bless you.
Have you done that one yet?
I'm probably.
It's the one. It's like it's the only unique like overworld boss battle. It's in the desert, in the wasteland.
I have not done that. That's one of the 13 I think I have left to do.
Yeah, I think a couple more things like that would have been kind of interesting.
I did a very similar one where you had to beat 3 Hynixes.
Oh yes, yeah.
Or you had to at least steal their orbs. You didn't really need to beat them.
That was really fun to watch. What are some what are highlights? Because we're just kind of being negative, but there are a lot of awesome ones.
There's some good ones.
So.
I just did one. It's at the far, far southeast corner of the overworld. It's an island. And so as soon as you arrive at the island, it's called like the deserted island shrine quest or something, whatever. Mm-hmm. It takes all your stuff away from you. So it's like you're back at the Great Plateau again. You're no armor, just your trunks, no pants. So you're really weak. You don't have any weapons. And then there's basic enemies. There's Bokoblins, there's an Octorok, and there's actually a Hynix on there. But they all have weak weapons too. So suddenly, if it's nighttime, you can kill a Stalfos, and suddenly his little arm is useful again. Because at the point you're reaching this shrine, you're usually going to be more powerful. So it's sort of like a throwback to the beginning of the game, but it's very survival instinct because you gotta, you've lost all your food, all your elixirs, everything. Mm-hmm. So it's like you pick up something on the ground that normally it's like, oh, it's an apple. Like, those are not as useful later on in the game. Mm-hmm. But you need it for that area.
Yeah. That was one when I saw you doing that earlier, I was just like, wow. Like, that's one of those ones where the concept just kind of blows your mind a little bit.
Yeah. So that was a fun one. Mm-hmm. There was the only one I can remember by name is the good old Miro Shaz.
Oh yes, the golfing one. Yeah.
That one, I think I spent 45 minutes on trying to solve that second part of it. Mm-hmm. And it was frustrating but fun. Yeah. And I found a unique solution eventually that differed from the actual official piggyback guide.
That's actually one thing that's interesting about a lot of these, especially a lot of the puzzle ones, is there's like 3 or 4 different ways to solve a lot of these puzzles. Yeah. That's sort of uncommon in Zelda, I would say.
Right. I remember I was just doing one.
Was it the Swinging Flames? Is that?
Yeah, I think it was called Swinging Flames was the subtitle. Uh-huh. I don't remember what the name of the shrine was. Right. It was like one of the last puzzle before you get to the shrine. There was a floor switch, and there was a barrel, and you had to get the barrel and put it on the floor switch. Mm-hmm. But in order to get the barrel, you had to burn down the vines that led to the wood that was holding the barrel. Mm-hmm. So there was like 3 different ways you can do it. You can time a bomb, blow up the bomb, it'll blow up the wood. You can get the barrel, put it on the floor switch. Mm-hmm. Or you can do some weird thing with like casting stasis on the flame, hitting it with an arrow, cutting the rope. It was elaborate. Right. But then I found out there was a crazy easy solution. There's all these things that are like triggers for you how to solve this puzzle. Mm-hmm. You can just step on the floor switch and then cast stasis on the floor switch and run ahead. And it's like you bypass everything that they designed because you could just use stasis.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ones that have, ones where I don't know if it's like, do you think they intended it to be that way, or was that an oversight?
I think I think a lot of this game was designed so that how you play it and how I play it are totally different.
Yeah.
And I think with multiple solutions, that's one way of going about that.
Yeah.
So a lot of these shrines, like even when I'm writing the guide or making the videos, I'm like doing 2-3 methods within that span of 30 seconds just to show all the different methods of completing it.
I'm actually really fond of that one specifically, but a lot of them do it like this because, they give you the subtitle Swinging Flames, and then they show you a couple puzzles where you have to do that, and then you get to this last one where to actually use the flame, it's a bit more complicated, but then it's almost a meta puzzle where, you can just use stasis on the switch. It's like a swerve almost, a trick.
Right.
Yeah. So that's pretty interesting. What have you thought? A lot of people have been really negative about like the motion control puzzles.
I think generally speaking, they're not the greatest, but some of them I had a lot of fun with. Okay. So I think, like there was the one where you were controlling like a maze, and you had like a marble in the maze, and you had to get it to the end. Mm-hmm. And that was, I thought, a little tedious because that's one of the cases where right from the start you saw the solution, you knew what you needed to do.
Right.
It was a clear maze. Get it to the end. But the struggle comes with actually moving the controls. Mm-hmm. And the struggle should become with solving the puzzle.
Yeah.
Not with the controls. So, like, figuring out how to solve the puzzle should be the fun. So some of the motion control ones were like that. I thought the putting one was kind of... It's short. There's only 2 putting holes, but you have to, like, move the putter.
Yeah. Doing one of those, yeah.
Yeah. I remember watching you play, and I'm like, I'm like sort of glancing at the side of my eye, and then all of a sudden I see you like this or something.
Oh yeah, there's the one where you have to like flip. You have to move the platform so you can walk on it, and there's one where the treasure chest is on the other side. So and it's like I was thinking exactly what you're saying. Like I know what to do, so I should be able to solve this, but instead it's just like the difficulty is in how I hold this controller right now. I don't know that one was one of my least favorite ones, but
yeah, I kind of felt the gyro controls were a little unresponsive at times. Mm-hmm. Or like it felt like it was not my brain and my hand-eye coordination just was not
right
agreeing with what Link was doing. But I thought, I don't think it was a strong suit of the shrines.
No.
But I don't know if it would be better off if they didn't do them at all. Yeah, I like there was some diversity. Some were okay. Like that.
Yeah.
I remember I saw one. I don't remember what shrine it was in, but it was another one where it was almost like a putter, but you had like a hammer, and then you had to like just move it this way, and it hit the boulder, hit a small boulder, which then hit a larger boulder, which broke a crate, and then you did it again, and then it got the boulder to fall through a hole. Mm-hmm. So like I don't know if you remember that one.
Yes.
It's not the motion control. You're using it for, 15 seconds. It was a cool little puzzle.
It's unoffensive. Yeah. Sometimes kind of cool. Sometimes not fun.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing I want to talk about is, do you think going forward they should do something like this where there's a ton of shrines all over, or we've talked about the like traditional Zelda dungeons, like some of these had the elements of puzzle solving in traditional Zelda dungeons. Like, what would you like to see going forward?
Well, several things. I think they could have done. If like let's say Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, mm-hmm. and they want to do the same exact concept, how to improve it? I would say number one, I don't like that the inside of the shrines were identical. Mm-hmm. They were all the same. Like why did it have to be in this sort of like generic overall large room? Mm-hmm. Why couldn't there be like themed based shrines? I know I understand it's more work And I imagine how these shrines were developed. It was sort of like sandbox creation, because they can, it was probably very easy to design some of these. But like, imagine take like the Forest Temple from Twilight Princess. You got it's like, imagine if you're in a shrine, but the shrine it's themed like it's a forest, and there's elements of forest based, and then you have a lot of these elemental oriented shrines, and it could go along with the regions they're in. So if you're in the in the lake region, maybe there's water based shrines, or if you're in the woodland region, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I it would be cool if they had more themed oriented shrines. The other thing we didn't touch upon it, but it was the naming of the shrines.
Yeah.
I feel that you mentioned a name to me, and I'm like, I don't know what the heck that name is, and I never will know what the name is.
Yeah.
And understandably, with 120 of them, one, you have to actually think of names, but two, you also have to, like, I liked the subtitle names. Like you were talking about Swinging Flames.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why didn't they just call it Swinging Flames? There may be a better name than that, but I mean, like, how all of the names kind of sounded alike.
Mm-hmm.
There's no distinctiveness to them.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to memorize, what they're called.
A lot of them, the subtitles were kind of cool. So, yeah, I definitely can see that being a thing.
And lastly, there was this goes with one of the general situations with how the game is structured, that all of the major upgrades in the game, like the heart containers and the stamina upgrades, they're all through the goddess statues. You got to go pray to them.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that only in a select few of the shrines did I feel the rewards were actually there. Like, I felt like I beat a shrine, and it's like, what did I get? I got a great Thunderblade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have 7 weapons that are already stronger. I've got another great Thunderblade that's already stronger than the one I just,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, okay, I didn't feel that instant gratification of, this is the reward I got for completing this.
Yeah.
Especially how you needed 4 upgrades to get a piece of heart.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe this would have taken more options away from the player, but I would have thought, all right, look, you got 120 shrines. Let's just say, I know it doesn't exactly work out this way, but there's 80 of these. Let's say you needed 80 or spirit orbs to make 20 heart containers, and that was all you can get from and then you needed 40 of them to make 10 upgrades for the stamina. You know what? Just bring back pieces of heart. A quarter piece of heart every time you got to the end of it. It would have felt more rewarding. The spirit orbs don't feel as rewarding. They feel, even though it's the equivalent of a quarter piece of heart when you think about it.
You didn't okay. I never thought that in those terms, but I guess I could see that.
Like, generally speaking, in Zelda, when the award at the end of a quest was a heart piece, it felt worthy of doing that quest.
Yeah.
When the award is a silver rupee, an opal, or an ancient core,
all right,
you get so many of them as the game progresses. It feels like it's a meaningless reward. So I think they should scale appropriately as well. If you complete a quest, a shrine that's a really lengthy shrine or a more difficult shrine, give me something worthwhile. And now some of the shrines, in particular the labyrinth, I don't know if you did any of the 3 labyrinths.
I haven't yet, no.
You get gear. You get like the barbarian armor. One, you get the chest, the head, and the legs. So 3 of them, you can get the whole set. I felt when I got the barbarian armor, it was like, oh wow, okay, this is a reward.
Yeah.
This is not just a silver rupee or sapphire or something. This was something big. Or when I got the stamina headband, I forgot what it's called, but
the climbers thing, yeah.
So those felt like, so it was like some of the rewards were gratifying, other ones weren't, and it was kind of like, this is just here because we need to get 120 of them because that's how the game is set up. So yeah, that's
a minor defense of the weapons reward thing is that also might partially be happening because you're going from shrine to shrine and not fighting a lot. Like you said earlier, oh, I've never even fought a Hynix or whatever. You know. So, when you fight one of those or other overworld enemies, you're going to use up a bit of your weapons. But I will say I'm still doing that kind of stuff, and I'm pretty full on weapons myself. They're just not as awesome. So
often I've gone through a shrine, and I got to a treasure chest, and I opened it, and it Twilight Princessed me, meaning it said my inventory is full. I can't hold it. Mm-hmm. So then I'm looking through my inventory and realizing, every weapon I have is better than the weapon that's in this treasure chest. But part of me, then if you don't open the treasure chest, if you don't get it, when you leave the shrine, if you look at your map, it doesn't show you that little treasure chest icon indicating you got all the treasure chests.
Yep.
So I end up dropping a better weapon just so I can get the item in the treasure chest, just so I can get that icon next to the shrine. Because I'm OCD like that, I guess.
Right. That's an understandable feeling. Well, so yeah, there's so many shrines. It's kind of hard to talk about all of them, but maybe we could do some videos in the future talking about specific a couple fun ones. Let us know if there are like any you want us to cover, or really if there's anything else you want us to talk about in regards to Breath of the Wild or Zelda. And yeah, thanks for watching.
See ya.